How much pressure is on James Franklin and Penn State going into this season?
I'd say a good deal. James Franklin signed a 10-year contract in 2021 that is now almost at that halfway point. And in his tenure in Happy Valley, he is 3-19 in 22 games against top 10 teams. Now, Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon won't all likely be breaking in first-time starters again. Plus, USC's top recruiting class doesn't come in until next year. So this feels like Penn State's best shot to win the league and get either a bye or a home game in the college football playoff. And if they don't do at least one or a couple of those things, I think James Franklin could be on the hot seat.
Yeah, it's been 9 years since Penn State last won Big Ten championship. 2016 seems like a long time ago, but this also does seem like one of James Franklin's best teams in years. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of it starts with having a veteran quarterback in place in Drew Aller. He's been learning on the job. He had a tough loss against Ohio State at Ohio State a couple of years ago in what was a big game for them. And last year, he's in the playoff. He's playing for a Big Ten championship. He's had some big experience, and a lot of it is expected of him. And I think he's at a stage of his career where he can handle that pressure and that spotlight that's going to be on him.
Not to mention, Katron Allen and Nick Singleton both come back to the team, right? And so one of the most proven quarterbacks in the league, a stable of running backs that you should be able to sort of help complement one another with. Aller needs to prove that he can pass the ball down the field and not just sort of dink and dunk his way down. But I think they added some transfer portal talent to the wide receiver corps this year in hopes that they're putting it all together this season.
Ohio State is entering the season with a new quarterback, whether it's junior Lincoln Kienholz or redshirt freshman Julian Sand. Can a new quarterback lead Ohio State back to a national title?
I'm going no. I don't think this is the year. As we just saw with Michigan last year, it is hard to repeat. Now, I'm not picking Ohio State to lose 5 games or something, but they just tied an NFL record with 14 selections in last year's NFL draft, 4 of which went in the first round. It's just so much talent to replace that it's hard to see them running it back. Do they have talent? Of course. Wideout Jeremiah Smith and defensive back Caleb Downs, I think are both going to be All-Americans, but it's just not enough. And so plus for the first time, they're looking to beat Michigan for the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic. I think that's kind of on their mind. Like, they just got the national championship. I think that is the monkey they really want to get off their back this year.
I don't think whether Ohio State wins a national championship this year is dependent on the quarterback, or that a first-year quarterback somehow makes that easier or harder. We've seen first-year quarterbacks come in and lead teams into the playoff, into the national championships in recent memory. I do have questions on defense, just as to whether or not they are national championship caliber there. They brought in Matt Patricia. He's got some guys in Caleb Downs, you already mentioned, Sonny Styles, some really talented guys. But do they have the defense, maybe especially the pass rush, to come in and attack people and be as tough as they were last year? And this is the kind of team that maybe could be a little bit like that 2014 team. You're playing better at the end of the season. You have a young team. You're peaking at the right time and can go on some kind of a run.
When looking at surprise teams in the Big Ten, especially when it comes to the college football playoff, who do you think will be this year's Indiana, if not Indiana?
Yeah, I don't know if there is one in this group, only because, and I cover Purdue. I don't want to sound like an IU hater because I'm not, but a lot of what they did last year was predicated on that schedule. So I guess Illinois would be the team that you would go with if you're defining it just as a team that hasn't made the playoff before making it for the first time. But when I look at their schedule, going at Duke in non-conference, that's not an easy non-conference game. They have to play Ohio State. They get that at home, but they also have to go at Indiana, at Washington. And what we saw last year with Indiana with these kinds of schedules is if you lose to Ohio State, you just don't have a lot of room for error. And if you lose one of those other 2 games, is your 10-2 going to be better than SEC team X's 10-2 and get you into the playoff?
It's funny. I agree with you on the team, but I think we see it just slightly differently, Nathan, because I do like Illinois' schedule in order to make an Indiana-like run. No Penn State, no Michigan, no Oregon, probably 3 of the top 5 teams in the league. And then the 2 others that they do have to play, Ohio State and USC, they get both of them at home, right? So if you pick one of those off, then you're pretty well set up. And when the toughest road game of the year is either Indiana or Washington, maybe you could throw Duke in that mix, though I don't know that Duke is going to be anything above a middling ACC team this year. Then you're in really good shape.
Which of the 4 newest Big Ten teams could make the most noise, though, in year 2?
All right. Well, I'm stating for the record that this is the last year I'm calling them the new Big Ten teams. Once they're in here 3 years, then they're just part of the new world order. But I mean, it's got to be Oregon, right? Next year, I've already alluded to it. The USC's current top-ranked recruiting class, that's going to help ideally for them start turning the tide. But I'm going with the Ducks, who've just been a model of consistency. Outside of the 2020 COVID-19 shortened year, Oregon's won 10 or more games every single season since 2018. And that year they won 9, right? So it's starting to feel like that 2008 and 2015 stretch where they won 89 games in 8 years, because they've won 45 over the last 4. And Dan Lanning's group is projected to make the college football playoff yet again. So it's hard to pick any other team.
Yeah, it's got to be the Ducks. And I actually like their spot right now because all the attention is on Penn State. Maybe do they, as we already talked about, do they step up? You got the defending national champion. You got 2 years ago's national champion still in their conference. And Oregon has all this talent and all this accomplishment, and they're just kind of hanging around. And that's a good spot to be in sometimes, that the spotlight isn't on you as much. They had 5 players on our preseason all Big Ten list. They had the preseason freshman of the year, Mekhi Hughes. And they get Penn State early in the year. And if Penn State overlooks them at all, or if that's just their day, we saw that last year with Ohio State. You know, that the Ohio State team was loaded, but who wins the Big Ten? Who beats Ohio State at home? It was Oregon, kind of seizing their moment. So Oregon is a team that they may be new to the Big Ten, but the Big Ten needs to recognize them as a annual power.